Hey, I'm Emily, and welcome to my garden. Let's talk about composting. So first things first, what is compost? Compost is decayed organic material, and composting is the process of adding a balanced combination of both dry and wet biodegradable materials together, such as leaves, straw, yard clippings, kitchen scraps, and cow manure. There are a lot of myths associated with composting. First being that it's complicated. Second being that it's messy and it smells. And then third is that it takes a long time. And these can become true if you don't compost with the right methods. The only science associated with composting is making sure you have the right amount of dry and wet material. You want your compost to be moist, but not soaked, and not dry. If your compost starts to smell, it's a good indicator that your compost is too wet and you should add some dry material, such as hay or leaves. Decomposers, like microorganisms, worms, insects, fungi, and the right conditions, allow raw materials to break down into one homogeneous, nutrient-rich soil, finished compost, otherwise known in our household as black gold. Compost from the kitchen. You gotta evenly work out each arm. As I'm sure you can tell, composting is fun for me. But why should you do it? I'm sure you're asking yourself. Well, according to the USDA, it's estimated that 30 to 40% of the food supply in America goes to waste each year. It's insane, right? It's about 133 billion pounds of food every year, just from America. So it really makes you wonder, what can one person do? What can one compost do to help that? Well, as I said in a previous video, if everyone did their part, we could make a huge impact. So there are different types of composters you can use. The type that we have is a tumbler. It's a dark plastic or metal bin that allows the user to turn the compost inside regularly, accelerating time of decomposition. The second type that I'm going to touch on is going to be the worm compost bin. This type of composting allows a user to compost inside the house without much odor. All it takes is worms in a bin inside the home and some dirt. So as you can see, we have a relatively small front yard, but we have been able to set up 6 different vegetable bins out of corrugated steel and plywood. We have a family business, my sister's business, creates designs for gardens for families and does a landscaping business as well. She has set up my parents' garden up here in the front yard with polyculture, using different plants to help reduce pests upon other plants, and we have drip irrigation going to each individual plant in order to reduce our water waste. We call this our community garden because it is in our front yard, and we have neighbors that have kids that love coming in and eating cherry tomatoes straight off the plant. It's quite an experience, but it is a fun place to be, and I've enjoyed being able to go out every morning and pick a cherry tomato or go out and get some kale. It's a fun experience, and there's tons of different variations that you can take on this. I hope this video has helped to be informative during this time of global pandemic, and I hope that everyone is staying safe.